Hey, Boy Manning here. Marcus Smart is the Defensive Player of the Year for 2022. First guard to win it since Gary Payton 1996, and the Celtics had Gary Payton here last night to congratulate Smart on the award. I'm Boy Manning for the Garden Report, CLNS Media, Celtics All Access. More talk of Smart's achievement today at practice, lots of congratulations, but also a clear concerted note by Ime Udoka and others that this is a team award. This is an accomplishment for what the Celtics have done as a whole this year, not just becoming the number one defense in the league, as Ime talked about, but also the winning. This is what Ime stressed, that the winning that the Celtics were able to pull off this year and really the overall success of the team drew more attention towards Smart's achievements. There's a sense, as people debate today, that this is more of a career achievement award for Smart than it is anything he did specifically this year. I tend to disagree with that. I know people are laughing at the loose ball recovered, but that's a thing. The box outs, chief among guards. I know it was mentioned that he's only top 5 among guards in defensive rating, but the on-off stuff with him is pretty evident in terms of how much better the Celtics are when he's on the court versus when he's off. Robert Williams had a stronger case, but Robert Williams did get hurt, and Jaylen Brown, of course, talking today, said that a number of Celtics could have come away with this award, whether it was Rob. Tatum certainly, I believe, led the league in defensive win shares, and Al Horford, I think more than anyone, goes underrated in terms of what the Celtics were able to do defensively this year. He told me at practice last week that they couldn't run the defense that they did this year without Horford, and that holds true of Smart too. Now, when it comes to the vote, I said weeks ago, maybe even a month ago, that Smart's reputation was going to carry a lot of weight in this vote. That's really the only way he stood a chance against bigs like Rudy Gobert, Giannis, and others. Mikal Bridges, actually, interestingly enough, came number 2 in the voting. So it was a shift toward perimeter players this year as people started to talk more and more about the impact and the weight that goes against bigs and what perimeter players actually do in terms of being able to keep the stars of this league away from the basket. Smart, I think it's twofold. It's the communication and the things that he's able to do to put everybody in position with the most switch-heavy defense I think the league has ever seen, a scheme that really put the Celtics in a historic conversation among great defenses. But it's also his ability to go inside and guard bigs as well as he does guards. These are all things that go beyond the numbers, I think, if you're around him every day, if you're watching this team game in and game out, that made you understand why he was in this position. Now, I was conflicted. Rob had my vote as the season winded down. I thought he was the guy who took this defense to another level, made it from great to historic in terms of the things that he was doing away from the ball. But then he gets hurt, and the Celtics do sustain. Now, they dropped to 8, but they were still a team, as we saw against the Nets in Game 1, that was a force defensively, and he's the biggest part of that. I think he's the common denominator. And did the narrative shift after Rob got hurt? Yes, but I think that's reasonable. You know, Rob doesn't play the full season. He's in the 60s in terms of games played. Smart was there most of the way, and I think he was the one who really set the tone and was the fabric that strung pretty much everything together on this defense. And don't forget, Rob nominated Smart for Defensive Player of the Year, as well as a number of Celtics as this year wound down. So I think a lot of the criticisms that have been thrown around in terms of this vote were actually legitimate reasons for Smart to be considered for this award. Now, Bridges, I get it, the analytics are great. Rudy, I'm not going to knock you if you voted Rudy. Like, his defensive rating among all the contenders when he was on the floor was the best among all the contenders. And I think the Jazz would be a wreck defensively without him, and instead they ended the year top 10. But I think it was reasonable to look at the number one defense, a team that pretty much cut its teeth on that end, and say someone from this team needs to win the award. And Smart was everybody's choice on the Celtics and clearly among voters. They had a say in this. That was my vote, so I'm happy with it. What do you think? Just discuss in the comments below. Garden Report, CLNS Media, Celtics All Access. We're brought to you by com.com/garden. Go get yourself 40% off a premium subscription. I'm Boy Manning, CLNS Media, Celtics All Access. We will have more coverage of Game 2, Celtics Nets, tomorrow, 7 o'clock tip-off. And, of course, catch the Celtics post-game show afterward.